This is good stuff. Wait, hold on. This is good stuff for the show. Let me go ahead and do my spill. Guys, this is the IBC Gang channel, our first ever Between Two Planets edition for our YouTube channel, where we're going to get to know fellow cosmonauts through and through the best we can. Today, we got our friend Joe from Cosmos DeFi, also a great YouTuber, a great content creator, a great person who is in the space daily, providing his thoughts, providing his feedback, whether it's on Twitter Spaces, whether it's on his own YouTube channel. By the way, I'm going to put your link down below. Joe, how's your day going, man?
Everything's going great, man. Going great. I love that intro. I might need you to intro me for my own videos as
It's
well.
really, it's really hard sometimes to stay focused and get it right the first
Oh,
go.
yes. Especially me.
Good,
For me.
good, good, good. Well, like I said, we're just gonna go lightheartedly with this conversation. It's more or less to let everybody else know, more on a more intimate level of who they hear on a day-to-day basis, whether it's on Twitter Spaces or, I know a lot of people watch your YouTube channel for NFT information. You're my
Yeah.
go-to guy for NFT stuff. So especially in the Cosmos, especially in some of the not just Cosmos, some of the other ecosystems as well. Like you're my go-to guy. So I know a lot of people sometimes don't get to know us as individuals or talking heads. So let's go ahead and just jump on into some basic questions. Joe, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? And what
Sure.
got you started in streaming?
All right. So I'm from New York. I'm actually a teacher in New York City. Um, and what got me started in streaming is I realized I was making educational content for a Udemy course centered around DeFi, Ethereum, Binance mostly. And then my attention got diverted to the Cosmos ecosystem. I would say about a little over a year ago, and I saw that there was just not a lot of content for the beginner on YouTube. And I always felt like YouTube is the place where content needs to be,
Mm-hmm.
so people can do their deep dives and go back months, even years, to find information. And I was like, you know what? You know, I started this Udemy course. I have a really hard time finishing what I start sometimes. Let me just dive into the YouTube stuff. I'll make it better as I go along, and I will not let the perfection be the enemy of the good. And I just started cranking out videos. Originally was not going to touch NFT stuff to begin with.
That's your thing, though. Now it's your thing now, man.
It's I think once the Stargaze Genesis mint was imminent,
Mm-hmm.
that was the most interesting stuff happening. So my attention went from DeFi tutorials, airdrop tutorials, to interviewing Genesis creators. And the Knots team was my first interview. I think that's definitely the first time I was actually on camera. I didn't have a space, so my background was just like a one of those built-in green screens on Google Meet. And then I interviewed Maria for Women from
Love
Cosmos,
her. Love
and then
Knots and Maria.
Cortland
Love
from
them. Yep.
from Bad Kids. So it was just an on the fly thing, and my strategy was, hey, 15 minutes, ask questions, let people learn about the project.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me drilling them with questions, and you know it wasn't like a gotcha. I wanted it to be more like an informational kind of approach, and then it just evolves every month. And yeah, here I am, mostly NFT content, surprisingly.
Yeah. So
And
was it?
I'm not a huge NFT collector. I'm very selective. I guess I do have a lot of NFTs, but there are whales out there that they just, buying, buying, buying. I can't do that. I think NFTs are riskier than altcoins,
Yeah.
and I try to manage my risk. But on the other hand, it's the most interesting thing happening,
It.
right? You and I have talked about the potential for the tech,
Yeah.
not just the JPEG. So yeah, that's my story pretty much.
So let's actually unravel that story a little bit, because I do find it really interesting. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is, even with my regular streams, I'm so glad we're finally getting to it, is really just finding out why people are where they are and how they even got here. So origins, kind of go back on your origin story of how you started producing content. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that you originally weren't even in the Cosmos ecosystem. You were what? Where did you first find yourself entering into crypto? What brought you here?
Okay, so I was part of like that 2017, crypto run. I knew very little about the actual technology. I was literally speculating, right? I
Hmm.
was I was gambling.
Hmm.
I was gambling. I didn't know I was gambling back then, but I was gambling. I have a friend who's been in crypto since like 2012. Through text messages, he would kind of guide me, hey, this is why you need to look at this. This is what's really good. This is what this is building. Decentralized internet, whatever. I didn't understand any of it. I was just shooting from the hip.
So what
And
was the what was the first crypto you got? Like what was the
Ripple,
first? Was it Ripple? It was
Ripple. Yeah,
XRP.
it was
XR.
XRP. I bought it on Coinbase. Um, I think at that time there were no stable coins. Um, at least not on
2017.
Coinbase.
No,
I
probably not on
remember having
Coinbase.
to do. I had to do a bunch of transactions to get Ripple. I think maybe Coinbase had Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic. I don't think they had Ripple, so I had to open up a Bittrex account, swap it for Ripple. I bought Ripple when it was 18 cents.
Nice.
I remember, $200 is a lot for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm gambling. I had no idea how to get it off the exchange, so I bought Ripple. I bought Bitcoin. I remember buying some tokens that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
But back in 2017. Um, uh, I remember buying um, Verge. I remember
Okay.
buying. I remember buying uh, Neo. I remember
Okay.
buying uh, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum. But long story short, when everything crashed in 2018, I had put a bunch of money into Bitcoin and Ethereum. A bunch for me is like a paycheck, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when it all came crashing down in 2018, rather than sell, I just didn't log into my account for like a year and a half. And before the big crash, I bought ADA. ADA was the only proof of stake token blockchain that I knew about. And the creator of ADA came from Ethereum. He was
Hmm.
pretty
Hmm.
well known even in 2017. He had his white paper was a video. It's like a 45-minute video. It's got millions of views explaining proof of stake
Yeah.
and explaining how this is better
Which
in the
nobody, by
long
the way,
run.
nobody else did that back then. Nobody else was explaining their white paper like the
YouTube
way
is the
Charles
way.
did. Yeah.
YouTube is the way for people that don't have tech backgrounds. They need visuals and they need conversation, right? So
Hmm.
I understood proof of stake. And fast forward to 2020, lockdowns. I'm home, working from home. I start getting emails from my all my different centralized exchanges that they were kicking me off because of, I live in New York. New York,
Yeah.
there's only two exchanges, so I got to empty everything off Binance, empty everything off Bittrex. I had two other exchanges, I can't remember. It forced me to start paying attention to what I had. I'm like, oh, I got some Bitcoin, I got some Ethereum, I have some ADA, and then through from there, I learned about staking rewards, and I saw on
Wait, 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 wait,
Coinbase
wait, 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 wait. So you bought ADA. Were you staking ADA back then, or you were just holding
they
on
didn't
to it?
have staking back then.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so their mainnet went live probably 2 years ago, so mid 2020.
That's right. Okay.
I got started getting emails to kick me off Binance probably November 2020. So I had Chainlink. I move it all off to an Exodus wallet. An Exodus wallet, you could actually stake your proof of stake tokens. So you don't get to select the validator.
Yeah.
It's them, right? It's Exodus.
Yeah.
And then I see, okay, ADA staking is 5%. I'm like, this is great. 5%.
Yeah.
This is a lot. And then I see Algorand and Cosmos way higher, like 9 to 12%. I buy a bunch of Atom at like $8. I stake it, and it was like a week before that February 18th snapshot,
Uh huh.
which qualified me for like a zillion airdrops.
Yeah. Ooh, lucky you. I was gonna
Osmosis,
say lucky
Juno,
you.
Neta, and uh, what really got me turned on to Cosmos, because that's where this is going to go. I hope, right? Um, was that there was a period of time where the Cardano blockchain was unusable.
Mhm.
It would take days for a simple swap to go through. You couldn't mint NFTs because the blockchain was clogged. Like, to hell with this. The wallets are terrible. look at all these APRs and Cosmos, look at all these new chains. I was looking at um, Juno, Neta, Persistence, Atom. Um, Osmosis to me was the greatest thing
Yeah.
because I used Uniswap. Uniswap is beautiful, but it was on the wrong chain at the time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Osmosis is so much better.
Oh,
Was
Osmosis
and
in its
still is.
heyday when it first came out too. Oh my gosh! If you
Yeah,
guys weren't around like from the very beginning of Osmosis, I mean, it was like you couldn't do anything wrong. You could just throw something anywhere down there, and it was high APRs, high APYs, all kinds of pools. You mean, oh my, like, yeah.
I did swaps on Ameris too. I
Oh.
had Akash because Akash was one of the tokens I had researched the year before, and I couldn't get it. It was on centralized exchanges. I had
Mhm.
no. I'm like Akash. I'm like that solves a major problem.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, okay, these practical use case tokens are going to be the ones where I should put most of my money. It turns out the opposite is true. Um, Chainlink, no good. Akash, as far as prices go,
Right. Right.
no
Right.
good. Siacoin, no good. I'm like, all right, decentralized storage, decentralized computing, um, and obviously oracles, right? I'm thinking decentralized finance cannot function without oracles and stablecoins,
Hmm.
right? Chainlink, so I had some money there, but yeah, I used Ameris. I used Osmosis. I bought my first swaps on Osmosis were Akash, um, persistence, I think, and regen.
Nice. Regen. Shout
So,
out to Regen. Regen's a great project. Like
and
just waiting for its
my
time.
my airdrop was like 450 Osmo tokens, and then I get the Juno airdrop, which matched my Atom tokens. It was like 75 or something like that. Then I'm researching interoperability, and
Wait. I
I'm
want to
looking at.
pause you for a second though. You
Yeah,
know
sure,
what's
sure.
really really cool, because being cosmonauts, right? Like it's all interoperability and narrative and all this stuff. And like we get it, we get it. But earlier, what attracted you, from what it sounded like to me, was when you were looking, when you had to move everything, being in New York, you had to move everything. You were saying what attracted you was seeing that Cosmos had a higher percent on the staking rewards, being like 10 or 12 back in the time, compared to Cardano being like at 5. So it was
Right,
actually the staking returns that got you interested, and then you found out about interoperability, which is really
right.
interesting because everybody's always like, oh well, Cosmos, and it's not that, with the APR, like, is it worth it, all this other stuff. It
Yeah, so
Comparatively
I
to
will.
traditional
I'm the
worlds,
kind
it's
of
great.
person I'd rather keep my tokens somewhere. I'm not trading.
Yeah.
I got I got my ass handed to me in 2017, 2018 trading. I understand technical analysis, but I can't apply it, right? So, or at least I couldn't. I was losing money on trades even as the prices were going up
Yeah.
because there were no stable coins, right?
Yeah.
So I would see a token go up 5x, buy it, it would go up another 5x. I would sell it, then it would go up another 5x, and I would buy back in and then ride it all the way back down. So
Yeah.
I was getting smoked with trading, and the liquidity was so low that sometimes I would buy a token and then I was raising the price, and then I would buy more, and
Mm,
then I would not be able to sell it.
yeah.
So, I did that a couple times, but yeah, I wanted to just stake. I understood what staking was like 2 years ago, and I was like, this makes sense. I'm securing the blockchain. I'm getting rewarded for it. And then in the meantime, I could turn my attention to something else, which was Juno. So Juno to me was attractive for I knew about vaguely how Cosmos was, in a niche within the altcoin ecosystem, right? Internet of blockchains is a great slogan. And Coin Bureau had videos and a couple others. I see Juno interoperable smart contracts. I was like, you know what? 140% APR. I had some tokens in a Exodus wallet. I had Digibyte and VeChain. I swapped them, moved it into Osmosis, swapped them for Juno and Atom, and I just staked it. So it wasn't a huge trade, right? But it was like me becoming better navigating the crypto world by, instead of having like 25 positions, I'm starting to like put my chips in the middle for the handful that I understand will have an impact a year or 5 years later. I lost your audio.
We lost. Sorry. Well, I love this
Gotcha.
story. That I paused it for a second because I had to cough. But I love this story. Let's go ahead and let's go into another section. So, being that we are now at least you're not totally Cosmos content on your YouTube channel. You do cover other ecosystems, but I know you
No.
are very much focused in the Cosmos ecosystem. And I consider
Yeah.
you, I don't know if you do, but I consider you a cosmonaut through and through. With that being said, what are your, let's narrow it down to four. What are your four favorite projects within the Cosmos
Fair enough.
ecosystem?
Within Cosmos,
Yes, just Cosmos.
I think a lot of people would have the same four, or at least three of the top four. I think that the Atom 2.0 situation will get sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I don't know what to buy, I'm just going to buy Atom. So that's definitely one. Um, I like Juno. I think the amount of the flurry of activity on Juno makes me ultra bullish. I I thought that the Prop 16 situation was really unfortunate,
Yeah.
right? At a bad time, but that's going to be a, you know, in the rearview mirror, right? It's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
So Juno, Adam Juno, I I I can't not be bullish on Stargaze. I really think that all the improvements that Stargaze is making is huge. I think that if they could allow some DAO tooling so that NFTs can be used directly on Stargaze to organize DAOs,
Uh-huh.
that's ultra bullish. And I don't think it detracts from Juno. Juno's going to have DAO tooling as well. I think DAOs are going to be maybe the next leg up for crypto in 2 to 3 years,
Yeah.
because we have because aside from Bitcoin, this is very disorganized, and the DAOs organize things, and you'll get like-minded people to move the needle a lot further in a shorter amount of time. Um, so I think you need DAOs, and a lot of them will fail, just like altcoins and
Mm-hmm.
NFTs. But so I would say Atom, Juno, Stars. I mean, Osmo's probably my third biggest position within Cosmos. I don't know if I would say that that's the most in my top four. But as far as I don't like Dex tokens at all,
Mm-hmm.
but I consider Osmo to be in a class of its own because it's a layer one.
Yeah.
Um, can I'm going to leave the number four slot open for one of these consumer chains that are going to come on the radar, because I think that the best tokens for the next bull run, we probably never heard of them yet.
Well, let me ask you this. That's a great segue into my next question. With Atom 2.0, with shared security coming shortly for the Cosmos Hub, and the discussion for consumer chains, with the ones that we do know now, what are you most hopeful for as far as the current contenders or the current projected projects that we know should be coming? Which I know a lot of them right now are liquid staking stuff. But like, I guess I should
Yeah.
say, what out of those? I don't know if you agree or disagree with liquid staking, but out of the ones that we do know, what is your most hopeful or most promising, in your opinion, consumer chain? Not financial advice, everybody. Just want to know Joel's
Right.
thoughts.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to take financial advice from a teacher. So teachers always complain they don't have enough money. Um, um, I don't know if these are technically consumer chains, but other layer ones in Cosmos. I Celestia got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look more into that. And Archway.
I'm very interested in Archway as well. It's very
Yeah,
interesting
and I'm not
discussion.
saying I'm going to just like ape into the token, but I want to learn more about what they bring to the table. Um, if you're going to tell me there's going to be a Cosmos SDK chain and it's going to be brand new and they're launching a DEX, I'm not that interested,
Right.
because I think we're good with maybe three DEXs in all of Cosmos,
Mm-hmm.
and DYDX I think is going to be a huge player.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be.
Let me
They
ask you
have to be.
this. Let me ask you this with that as well, because I feel like I swear, guys, we didn't plan this at all. It's just such great answers, and it's setting it up for the next question as far as dexes go, because we do have quite a bit of different dexes in our ecosystem. Um, I don't know one of them is probably going to be osmosis, but what do you think is going to be the two or top three? Probably the third one we don't know about yet, but what do you think is going to be the biggest and most used dexes in our space?
To be honest, I hope DYDX is number one, just for the simple fact that it'll be a success story moving from Ethereum to IBC.
I can see that. Yeah.
Even if I never use it, I want that to be the premium DEX, for all of DeFi. And I think that will be the most bullish thing for the Cosmos ecosystem, even if I never use the DEX, and I never have,
I can
right?
see that.
But I've heard nothing but good things about Kujira and Injective. I've never used them. Um, I like osmosis. Obviously, it's great. I have maybe like a fringe unpopular opinion about AMMs
Hmm.
since the whole UST scenario. I think that they're flawed. I think that
Why?
liquidity pools are great for basically permissionless swaps and moving away from centralized exchanges. I think they're flawed because the impermanent loss can be kind of weaponized to depeg a derivative or a stable coin. We saw that. We saw it with not much money, right?
Hmm.
For the traditional finance world, that's not a lot of money
No.
to
Yeah.
to disrupt the number two or number three stablecoin. And it tells me that they could probably do it to all the stablecoins at the same time in one day if they really wanted to. And I think that AMMs are maybe one step along the way of an evolution to better decentralized trading. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a tech person will tell me this is the best we can do. That's fine. I like order books. Um, I just like being able to, set limits, set stops, and all that. I don't know how you could successfully trade as a trader with an AMM with the slippage and the impermanent loss and these fast, like 30-second candles where you miss your entry or you miss selling. So yeah, it's probably not popular opinion, but I think AMMs are just up, their progress, but we'll see something completely different in the next 3 to 5 years, or at least another option. I would rather have options than things get completely replaced, to be
I
honest with
could
you.
see that.
But
And even if it is in a popular opinion, I see where you're coming from. I could see that. I could see your concern, and I think it's a valid concern. I really do. Now that I'm
and
thinking
let me
about it, I've
say,
never even
I'm
thought
not a
about it like
trader.
that.
I don't consider myself a trader at all. Um, I just see that they're going to be these liquidity pools are going to be targets. Um, and if you're going to spread out liquidity to 5, 6, 7 Cosmos chains, that's just Cosmos, right? Cosmos is not even the number one DeFi ecosystem.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, they're going to be people are going to depeg stablecoins and derivatives just for fun.
That's true.
Why
I
would
could see
why
that.
wouldn't they? It's just a matter of math, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's
You
just a
show them
trade.
how much they need. Yeah, you mean all they have to do is go on osmosis, look at every one of those liquidity pools that they have, and just go easily figure out how much they need to
I
bump it off the rails. Like that's
and
it.
this my opinion changed with the whole Juno whale situation because I was asking a validator. I said, if this whale just keeps his money or unbonds a big chunk of his money but keeps most of it staked and just decides to sell it, is it really that big of a deal? Right? Like it's
Mm.
his money. Why can't he just sell and take profits? And the validator told me because it would it would drain liquidity from Osmosis and Juno Swap multiple times a day. And I said, well, is that really that bad? And he said, it's bad, but it wouldn't be like a fatal situation for the Dexes.
No, yeah,
So,
yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, that,
but it would obviously hurt liquidity going forward. No one's gonna put their like I've literally supplied liquidity into pools that had like $10,000 in liquidity,
mhm.
right? So I've put in like $500 and shifted the prices before.
Mhm.
So that's
It's an
super
awkward.
risky.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it, when you see you
I'm
that
like,
you.
wow, look what like I'm gonna like muscle my way through this DeFi ecosystem. Imagine like a hedge fund,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
So
I
anyway, that's I think AMMs will have to give way to something better. Um, I don't know, or maybe just some features have to be added around them to fortify them against what people would describe as an attack, right?
yeah.
Oh, the UST was attacked. I thought that too. I have friends in traditional finance kind of set me straight. They said this is not an attack. They don't care who Do Kwon is. They don't care who's using Anchor
Hmm.
Protocol. It's a trade, and they
Yeah.
calculated the risk. This is how much money we can make if it's successful. Here's the probability of it working. boom, and
Yeah.
they just did it.
I
So and
100% agree with you. You know, I say this all the time. I have a saying that in investing or anything like that, you need to be the abuser in the relationship between your capital and your investments. And
right,
the only thing that happened was there was a better abuser in the game. There's somebody else
that's right,
came around and they abused all of us or the mechanisms, not us, but the
right.
situation that was there. So yeah, no, I 100% agree with your friend
What's
and
funny
yourself.
was like 2 weeks before that was when I first started building my Luna position, so I didn't really get really touched up a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was it's a big learning experience, and it's one of the reasons why I always was telling you another unpopular opinion. I thought that the market was going way lower because my thinking was all that money just disappeared, right? There were people doing the right thing, taking profits. They could have been 90% in stable coins and they got demolished.
Oh yeah,
Worse than people
I
that
have mods. I have personal friends that literally
so
were doing with the right thing, taking it into UST, the stable, and they still got hosed after on the stable part
right.
of it. So
And I thought it would take a year or more for that free money to make its way back into the ecosystem.
yeah, and but
So
it
that's
will.
why I was
I
always like,
love that
I
you brought
never
that up.
understood.
It will come back to
I
the
never
ecosystem.
understood why, and you were obviously correct when you basically, you're like, this looks like a bottom.
Hmm.
Maybe we could start. I remember when it was like June, third week of June, and I was like, this might be a pit stop on the way down to like 9,500 Bitcoin. I don't know, right?
Hmm.
And that's when obviously a trader can look at all these other indicators and find entry when everyone else is their hair's on fire.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and like again, not to get in all to trading is definitely. I consider myself more of a long term investor or whatnot, but I see certain things like we had a really good. I don't want to call it a bear market rally. I don't know if you even want to consider that a rally, but we had a really good rally at a very few of our my personal opinion good entry points, especially with my 200 SMA strategy and all that stuff. But then again, to be a consistent profit taker, to set yourself up and to know when to get out of the pool, is it's it's a hard thing. But
yeah,
anyway,
you want to hear a funny story about that?
sure.
So I got my Juno. I don't know. It got airdropped to me, and then I doubled up my position or tripled up my position. Probably when Juno was like between $4 and $6.
Hmm.
Juno hit 40 something, right? And then on the way down, it was like 32, 31, 30. I'm like, all right, I'll take some profits here. Just my staking rewards. It was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
$100, whatever. And then it was below 30. And I was like, I'm not going to take profits now below 30. That's stupid.
yeah,
And it just like the mode of thinking where I'm looking at numbers that make me feel good versus like Luna's going to zero, UST's going to zero, stock market was not doing great, and then of course all the other, you know, geopolitical things going on. So next time I'll be taking a lot of profits and I'll be
yeah.
perfectly happy sitting like mostly in stable coins as I if we see another bull market like like we expect.
Right, right. Well, let me pivot because we got about 10 more minutes here. Let me pivot
Sure,
here
sure.
and ask you a couple of more questions. So, you do your YouTube videos where you again like you now focus a lot more on NFTs. Do you currently have a direction or are you how are you feeling with your YouTube channel? Like where are you going with all of it?
Lot of self reflection after every video. Just trying to see how I can make them better quality, more interesting, keep people watching for longer. Um, People probably don't know this, but if I make a 20-minute video,
Hmm.
it's probably like a 2 hour to 2.5 hour ordeal
Hmm.
because I edited almost every single one of my videos. Sometimes I've redone my videos from scratch just because I try to look at it as the person who clicks on the video by mistake.
Yeah,
Are they going to watch this? Right? What's good about it? What's vague? Am I assuming they know too much when I introduce, whatever idea I'm going to talk about? So overall, I would say extremely critical, but overall, since the beginning, the incremental improvements have added up, and that was my plan from the beginning. Make small adjustments, improve over time. My goal was to make 100 videos for the year.
yeah.
So I made 100, hit my 100th video, and they're not all good, but I went for volume.
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I think I'm at like 108, something like that, and I started in February, so I'm way ahead. Um, Overall, how do I feel? The quality could be better. I'm not.
I
I'm
feel like
clearly not.
that's gonna be all of us though, to be honest. We're
Yeah,
our
yeah.
own worst critic.
It's
I feel
adequate.
like
I
you've
would
done
say
great.
adequate with more adequate. I'm clearly practicing on the job,
Yeah.
right? And I just try to rewatch the videos in a really critical way, like a- as if I'm watching someone else. And I look at everything, right? The lighting. Am I too close? Am I too far from the camera? Um, you know, my equipment. I've had to upgrade some stuff. Not everything because I like the headset, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
have to
yeah.
go with what you've got at some point. But yeah, overall, I would say adequate. I get a lot of good feedback,
I feel
so
like
maybe
you're
I'm
doing
I'm
a really good job, but
I get a lot of
I
good
really do.
feedback. It keeps me going.
Yeah, I feel like you're evolving, you're learning, you're again like you're just like you said, you're practicing as you're working on your trade or yourself in your podcast. I feel like you've. I remember when I first found you. I don't even remember how, but I do remember the first time I watched the video and the leaps and bounds that you've made in the production and your pitch and just the flow of everything has. I mean, I hope you're taking it as a super big compliment, but you have just like grown tremendously, and not even on your YouTube videos, but like also with your community engagement on Twitter Spaces and your fellow cosmonauts. Like guys, you get such, and I'm not just saying it because you're here, but you get such a really good reaction and response and acceptance from everybody. um I really do hope that you keep plugging along and you keep doing what you're doing, because it's now, I feel like you're more of like a household name in the Cosmos ecosystem. Like if people are thinking about NFTs, there's a few people out there that are like, the first thing they'll pop up is, I'm gonna go check out Joe's channel. Joe probably knows about it, like I do. If I'm
Yeah.
thinking NFTs, I go, who am I going to ask? Beetle, Joe, and a couple of other. Like I know where I'm going to. So I
And
think,
Beto wins like all my contests.
yeah,
He wins everything, man. No, no, I definitely appreciate that, and
yeah,
it's I try not to look at. I want to acknowledge the improvement because it's you need to motivate somehow. I get really good feedback. I take that I take that feedback to the bank because nobody has to tell me that I'm doing good. They could just be watching my videos and not interacting at all.
yeah.
Um, there will be many more improvements in a short amount of time coming. Let's say. Uh, And I think one of the other things that's kept me going is no one was doing what I was doing the way
No,
that I
yeah,
was doing it.
nope.
So it's not like I could compare myself to someone else and get better faster than I wanted to.
Hmm.
I was in uncharted territory, right? There was no one on YouTube covering Stargaze.
Yep,
There was
not at
no
all.
one on YouTube um, interviewing NFT creators, right?
Hmm.
Really on any chain. I do see some people doing it now, and I try to watch them to see if I could pick up some stuff. Uh, but yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. There will be more. I'm trying to now switch over to using some more data to make improvements.
Yeah,
I feel like I needed 100 videos to get enough data. I'll spend time looking at that. And just as far as like professionalism and consistency, that'll be the next area. And you mentioned community engagement. I have some ideas for that that no one has done. So
well, you
that'll
let
be
me know because I'm still working on that myself.
that'll be coming. I've toyed with the idea. I feel like I have a lot of people I could tap into
Hmm.
to if I wanted to do some kind of NFT collection or whatever. And I have ideas for that. I have not gone forward with it because I don't think I could make anything that would have some kind of intrinsic value,
Hmm.
right? And I like having intrinsic value with my NFTs. Um, I might mint a collection just to do it, just to see if I can do it by myself, and then just give them away or something like that. But I have some ideas that are coming that will, I would say, set me apart from other channels.
I
Put
love
it
it.
that way.
I love it. Well, I'm excited, man. I want to. I've always been a very big cheerleader for you and what you're doing. Um, I just absolutely love what the focus
I
and the
appreciate it.
dedication
You
that you've
definitely
had.
helped me out a lot, and I think there are other people who have helped me out as well. So I don't want to leave them hanging.
Yeah,
If you don't mind
who do
me
you? Yeah, no. Who
quickly
do you want to
mentioning,
give shout outs to?
Liam. Liam has
He's a
helped me out a
great
lot.
dude.
Liam,
Yeah,
in
I
the
love Liam.
beginning, Liam would share my videos even if he made a video on the same exact thing.
Mhm.
So I definitely have to give him a shout out. Um, Don Kryptonium, I chat with him sometimes.
Don
He's
Krypton.
just he gives me good info. He told me, I think the first thing he told me was, "Oh, I watched one of your videos. It helped me get my airdrop, but your thumbnails suck." He said, fix your thumbnails.
I
So,
love that guy. I really
but it's
do.
true.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to my thumbnails. I just want something for people to click on.
My
And then I
thumbnails
look at
suck
his
too, man.
thumbnails. I'm like, damn, he does have good. That's what we. That's the locker room version of comparing
Yeah.
yourself to someone else. Like, oh, look at that guy. That guy's got some good thumbnails.
It's thumbnail
I gotta
game.
work out. I gotta start working out the way he's working out. But yeah,
It's so funny.
um, but yeah, those two. There are others too. Obviously, Knott's team gives me good feedback.
Shout outs to Notch. Yep.
Sky Monks Jacob gives me good feedback. So, and on Spaces, I get help from a lot of people. So, um,
Let,
it's been a little bit all over the place
uh,
as I rein it in. Like I said, my channel will be in a position that I don't think other channels are in. Hopefully, this could be in the next year an actual legitimate side gig. So we'll see.
yeah. Yeah. Hey, year and a half from now, Bitcoin halving. Who
Right.
knows? Final question for you. Top 3 Cosmos NFTs that you like. No pressure. Gun to your head. You got to answer in 5 seconds. 1,
I put
2.
them in categories. Um, Intrinsic value, paying out monthly dividends.
Uh-huh.
Anything anything that's doing that is in my elite blue chip class. Number 2, any NFT collection that has a treasury that the community can deploy in a way that's going to add value to the collection.
Hmm.
And then number 3, I really like the Hail Marys. So building a game, or especially an elaborate game, um, Stargaze Punks, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, you want me to name specifics?
Yeah.
I've got Gatadao
Okay.
and Raccoons at the top of my list.
Those racks.
Then tied for third, there are a bunch of collections that have treasuries like Maneki, Sky Monks, Rebels. I like Rebels a lot. I could Anyone looking to launch a collection can learn a lot from what Rebels is doing in terms of the way they manage their community and build. Um, and there are others I'm forgetting that have treasuries. So yeah, I would say in that order. I'm not going to use PFPs ever again. So I want things sitting in my wallet that are doing something for me, almost like an ETF of NFTs. So I didn't answer
Shout
your
outs.
question, and it annoys me when people do that to me. But yeah, I couldn't do it, man.
No,
I can tell you my biggest my biggest holdings, my biggest NFT holding. It's probably Gatadao and Raccoons right now.
all of
I don't
them.
have that
All
many.
I have a rack. I have a Sky Monk. I have a Rebel as well. I think the only one I don't have is that one. But I just want to give a quick shout out. I know we're wrapping up. You know how much Maneki or myself I learned or sat and watched Rebels and Sky Monks
Yeah,
and what
Sky
we were
Monks too.
doing. They're awesome. Knots are awesome.
Yeah,
A lot of great projects are awesome. So I love the fact that you separated it, and then like I get it, but I have to put you on the
there's,
spot.
there's too many. There's too
Uh,
many.
With that, Joe.
NFTs are almost like spam at this point. You just every day 10 new NFT collections
I know.
to go into the Discord and ask questions, right?
I know. That's why keep up the good fight. You're my reference. I'm gonna always go back, guys. If you guys want to, I highly suggest that you guys go check out his YouTube channel. Link down below. I refer back to him for anything that's happening within the space when it regards NFTs. So check him out. Give him a follow. Subscribe to his channel. Joe, thank you so much for your time, man. I
Hey, no
really do
problem, man.
appreciate you. I'm
All
gonna
right.
get out of here. Peace.
Take it easy.
Later, man.